Joined by Abulo Semwagu. There's a controversy outcry over the killing in Lagos of a female lawyer. We're hearing she was pregnant by a trigger-happy policeman. He raises again the issue of extrajudicial killing by the Nigerian police. When we list up answers on our minds, again, on today's edition, we'll focus on what the president told us, that immediately he leaves office, he'll go to far away in Daura on the borders with Niger Republic, where few persons can reach him, where he will be so far away that he will not influence or cast shadows over the man that will replace him. We'll be dwelling on that also today. Well, let's welcome my colleagues to today's show.
Amechi, good morning and Merry Christmas, Nigerians. The second public holiday. I hope you are enjoying it. I hope you are catching your cruise, as we say. And the sad news from Lagos is really sad. Our heart goes to the family of Bolanle, the lawyer who was shot by a policeman. It's one thing that we've been saying here, Amechi, how mentally stable are our Nigerian police, the police force? How psychologically stable are they? How many times have they gone through psychological tests? Trauma is all over everywhere. Some people are faced with depression. The policeman with a gun has not eaten.
I wanted you to narrow down to the source of the depression.
Yes, he has not gotten food, and probably standing on the road, maybe garden, nobody has dropped 5 naira for him, as traditional with Nigerians. It's not tips anyway. Some people willingly want to give the policeman even without them asking. So probably these policemen have not seen this, and they are hungry, and it's Christmas, and they've not seen food. This is not justifying a crime. You have committed a crime.
You have just going to the root causes.
Yes, you are a law enforcement officer. There's nothing on earth that should make you trigger your gun at an innocent civilian. What offense did the woman commit? Even if she refused arrest or refused interrogation or refused inspection, it's not enough to trigger.
Well, Tevetiaf, one would say it's not only in Nigeria that you see trigger-happy policemen. Go to the US, they appear to target African Americans there. But looking at the root causes, how do we recruit these rank and file? Who do we recruit? It was under the Obasanjo administration that we were told that criminals are recruited into the police force, those with criminal records. Yes, it came to the public glare during that period. And just like you pay someone 30,000 naira as minimum wage and expect the person not to be corrupt, what is the salary of the constable or those who rank and file? Can their salaries take them home? Considering their background, not very good, when you give them that arm and encourage them to mount most times illegal roadblock, their superiors will encourage them. Yes, their superiors will see what is happening in the roadblock and look the other way. Some persons that allege that process gets up to them. How do we expect this thing not to continue? Are we not just waiting for the next news to break that, another innocent citizen has been shot dead by a trigger-happy policeman?
Amechi, good morning to you. Good morning, listener. Indeed, it's a sad one. It's not just a female lawyer that was killed. She was pregnant from the reports that we have. So a woman was killed and an unborn baby was also killed. It's very difficult to discuss this issue because of several factors that you've raised and Abu has also raised. But then you ask yourself, why would this happen there in Atlantis Ajah or so, and then it will not happen perhaps in Kubwa in Abuja or in Lugbe in Abuja as it were. And the report we also have indicate that another policeman in this same police station shot and killed another person, I think on the 5th of December or so. So in the span of just within two
in the
weeks.
same Ajah in Lagos.
The same place, the same police station. So it appears something is wrong. And if I were the Inspector General of Police by today, I would have shut down that police station, transferred every human being in that place out of Lagos, send in perhaps new persons, deploy new personnel to that place. Because if it has happened in a span of 2 weeks, it's clear that something is wrong. And it's also possible that when the first person it happened, perhaps no serious action was taken. So it also perhaps did not deter the second person.
Are you sure this problem is not beyond the Inspector General, please?
I wouldn't say,
resolve.
that's why I said it's difficult to discuss it. And that's why I said it's difficult to discuss it. But within what he can do, please, Inspector General, please shut down that police station. Deploy every human being, in fact, including the dogs. If they have dogs in that place, deploy all of them out of that place and get in fresh personnel and fresh tools and devices, to help police. I mean, what happened could have been you, it could have been I. At a roadblock, you say somebody should park. Just when there's no spaces to negotiate to park, the next thing you shoot and kill. So it's just like you also asked, it's just the next person. And the interesting thing is, about 2 of the presidential candidates are already talking about this. So perhaps, as a person, I'm going to, screenshot the tweet that they've raised this, so that if any of them wins, we'll remind them, that you said this when it happened, and what have you done after 1 year, after 6 months, after 1 year, and all of that. We'll keep tabs of it. The difference between Nigeria and other climes is when it happens in other places.
No, you mean the Western world, not a fellow African country.
No,
because extradition clearly happens in most African countries just as it's happening in Nigeria.
Even in the Western world, there are some that clearly very little is done. Take the case of France, for instance, and all of that. But what the difference is, after the investigations, what action do you take eventually? In the US, we've seen how they migrated to wearing body cams. We've seen how, routine checks, deployment, and all of that. Here, what do we see? So for me, I'm actually looking at what the Inspector General of Police will do beyond the arrest, because as they arrested him, the only thing they can do is, do only room trial, dismiss him, and then hand him to the civil court to try him for murder, and perhaps, and some of us that are even against death sentence, it's just there. But we need to take much more action beyond.
Now let's go beyond. What's the requirement in recruiting a constable, a police officer? He must be of 18 years of age and not more than 25 years. Must have an O level. So it's assumed that somebody that has O level, WAEC, with minimum of 5 credit, is learned enough.
They've been forced to lower that criteria.
Then it went for that to say,
when they met shortfall in applications for recruitment.
It went for that to say character. That the person must be of good character and must not have been convicted. It went for that to say physical features. It must not have bended knees and whatever. Then what interests me, Amici, is the guarantor. At this point, the guarantors of these policemen should be invited. That must download and fill the guarantor's form, presenting verifiable references form, and blah, 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 blah. So, before you are employed to the police force, you have guarantors. These guarantors should always be invited when something like this happens, to stand as warning to other policemen that want to misbehave.
This particular police officer.
This police officer has stayed 33 years.
Exactly. So the guarantor would have even died.
He's supposed to have retired.
It's possible that even the guarantor would have died because the guarantor would not have been 33 at the time he signed the guarantor's form.
Now, we're looking at how we can solve this problem. Yes, and how we can go under it and bring out the solution.
Beyond what the inspector... Yes, it's good to punish them, but it's so deep-rooted. We have to look at the way they are recruited. Some Nigerians now shouldn't be recruited as constable into the police force. They had to re-advertise in some states of the Federation, Southeast and South-South. They were not showing up to be recruited. So it tells you there's this disdain. Yes, that's why I say Southeast and South-South. There's this disdain and perception of the police. It starts with the remuneration. Just like that clerk in the civil service that you pay 30,000. In some states they pay them 10,000. They pay them in percentages. And you think the man will readily go to office and walk by the rule? If a file comes to his office and he moves it from point A to point B happily, it cannot happen. It is a structure and system that is set up to fail. And until we address these problems and reduce the staff, a number of people in our public service, and remunerate them very well, motivate them. It will not entirely eliminate corruption, but the moment you show corrupt tendency, they go full-time against you. We have to do the same to the police. Remunerate them very well, motivate them. When you see them, you take pity on them. You said something even without asking. Some people want to give something. If you look at their faces, you see depression. Look at their uniform, worn out. Look at their guns. You wonder whether we can cock, not to talk of shoot, because it's been there for decades. We really need to radically change things.
Amechi, I will not agree with you for saying that it was set up to fail. The Nigerian police was set up to provide civil security. And out of it, you created the Nigerian Civil Defense Corps. Out of it, you created the Federal Road Safety. Out of it, you created several other paramilitary agencies. And they earn more.
Yes, all of them almost double, if not triple.
And let's revisit
what their counterparts in the police are earning.
Let's revisit why the police became so weak. The military came in, and the military concerned themselves with their own men. You know that Obasanjo, the president, gave vehicles to military officers then. Did you remember the police? He also gave, when he was looking for third term.
Even IBB, the IBB spirit.
Did you remember the police?
At some point, the police officers were shouting.
For a span of over 30 years, the police were relegated, or the police were relegated. Now, it's just now 1999 that we're trying to revive this, bring the police into the stream. Because then, during the military rule, it's the military people that conduct road, what they call it, traffic on the road. So the police need to educate them. We need to bring them closer psychologically. There should be a monthly psychological test on them. How many doctors are in the police?
Their money has to be in the pocket before the psychology.
That was one of the 5 demands by the
NSAS.
The last one is improve their welfare.
And I mean, just recently, the Police Service Commission submitted their audited report to the Vice President and then eventually the President when he got back. And they were requesting to be placed on first-line charge. I know that over time, the Police Service Commission considered their powers through the police hierarchy and will have what we have. But if that institution can work the way it should work, we'll get somewhere. It will amaze you to know the United Kingdom, over the last 10 years or so, has been funding the Nigerian police. That's why they responded.
Capacity
building.
Beyond the UK, many other countries.
And that's why they spoke when the NSAS was, was on the way, because they said, look, we've invested in this and we are still not seeing the kind of results that were. So, just like you said, much more needs to be done. And the Police Service Commission, because the police itself cannot help itself. That is
it's beyond the police.
They cannot help itself. So, the Police Service Commission needs to, beyond the discipline that we see them, the promotion and all of that, they have wide scope of responsibility. Let's see how things can change.
I don't know what the law says about the chairman of the Police Service Commission. Most times, what they appoint is a retired police officer who's tired. Look at them. From our investigations, they rarely come to office. Because they are managed at the age, many of the past chairmen were appointed. They are managing. If you get to 60, you'll be extremely lucky not to be managing one ailment. If it's not diabetes, it's high BP. If it's not this, that's the reality. And when you appoint these old men into that place, instead of bringing dynamism and innovation, they want to, I've given up.
Can I agree with you a little?
I don't want a problem. I don't want this. But beyond all this, as bad as the police force is in terms of remuneration motivation, they are exceptional police officers. And they are proving it. Yeah. They are exceptional, and we must shout their praises. There were some of them that were offered bribes in thousands of dollars, and they refused. There are those you meet, if your car breaks down along the road, they will stop and help you. There are some of them that if they provide service, you wonder whether they're from the Nigerian police. But we need to identify such people, look at what motivates them, look at their attitudinal makeup, and see how we can get more of them into the force, while also increasing their remuneration. Let's hear from you.
The issue of
Let's hear from them. When we come, remember, we have to talk about the president in Daura.
Yeah.
Let's spend time to do that. Let's welcome Chidera to share your thoughts as you reflected on.